We love a good damaged hero. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about some of the historical romances that feature damaged heroes. And by damaged heroes, I mean either physically, mentally, or emotionally. So basically, these heroes are either scarred from war, scarred from past traumatic experiences, scarred from their childhood. And basically, we have heroes and heroines that has suffered through a lot. And these stories feature a lot of emotional baggage, and we feel very sympathetic for our characters, and it definitely tugs at your heartstrings. So hopefully this video finds it helpful for you to choose some nice angsty and romantic reads. So I want to talk about this book first because this was actually the book that inspired me to actually film this video and to actually collect books that I have read in the past that include damaged and scarred heroes. This one is a new to me author called Grace Calloway, and she's actually indie published, and you can find majority or actually all of her books published on Amazon. So this one is called Her Wondow Wager, and it's book 2 in the Mayhem and Mayfair series. Now I read book number 1 and I never talked about it on my channel yet, but I will do a deep dive into it. But book number 1 was an okay read for me. I liked Grace's writing and I wanted to see what was up with the second book. I'm so glad I continued because this one definitely became a new favorite of mine. This one is basically about our heroine who has a brother that got himself into a bit of trouble, and our hero actually kind of captures him because he needs to pay back what he owes to him. And in order to free him, our heroine actually proposes a wager where he will have her for 6 nights, and if at the end of the 6 nights like she is willing to fight him off and she still doesn't feel the attraction that she has for him and things don't go right, then he will release her brother, and then all debts are settled and things like that. So this one definitely included a lot more action and also danger than I would have imagined, mostly because this whole series does. Our heroes have enemies, and our heroes' enemies want them dead, and including everyone around them that they love dead too as well. So our heroine is also being put in danger. This one is definitely an enemies to lovers romance. Our heroine and our hero do not like each other, or at least our heroine doesn't like him, because obviously why would you like the person that took in your brother? But our hero is severely attracted to her, and he knows that she is too good for him because she is a ray of sunshine. She has everything going for her. She can marry rich. She can do really well in life. But here he is, kind of very a dark creature and character. There are some scenes in this book that definitely make you really sad and really like frustrated and angry because our hero has been put through so much as a child. Came from a really traumatic like environment where nobody really believed him and everybody thought that he was scum and trash and that he was not worthy of like life and air. So it was really sad to see him kind of like going through these emotions and us learning more about his background, and then our heroine kind of being the light at the end of his tunnel and giving him hope that he can have happiness in life. So this one definitely was a really great read for me, and it's really cute because her name is Percy, but people call her Persephone, and then afterwards she thinks that he is her Hades. So I don't know if you guys like that kind of thing, this one's definitely for you. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Go check it out. Now the next book that I do want to talk about is actually one from Tessa Dare. So Tessa Dare has actually written a lot of books featuring heroes who have come back from war and have been experiencing some symptoms of PTSD. I will be listing some more of her books later on, but the first one that I do want to mention is A Lady by Midnight. Basically what happens is that our heroine has come to Spindle Cove and she just wants to live a good life. She wants to live a simple life. She wants to leave things behind. But what happens and what she doesn't expect is to actually form a enemies to lovers relationship with a very strict and brooding man. And now our main hero is actually a military soldier, and he has come from war, but he's settling down into smaller cities to kind of treat his past traumatics that happened during the time of war. And what happens is that someone is looking for our heroine in the city, and in order to protect her, he pretends to be his fiance and they pretend that they are together. And this one was really heartwarming to see because our hero is actually like a wall sometimes. Like, he shows no emotion, but then like certain things happen and you can tell that he's scared and he's frightened, and he opens up his vulnerabilities to our heroine, which is always really nice to see our heroes being vulnerable and kind of breaking down the walls that they have set up for such a long time to protect themselves, and to only feel comfortable with our heroine to talk to them. And then afterwards, there are some moments where you can also see that he is completely smitten with her and that he is a changed man. And basically his eyes always find her when he enters a room, and it's kind of like she brings the joy in the room and she lights up the room. So I really like this one. So the next book that I would recommend you to read if you want to read about a scarred hero or a damaged hero is this one that I've been talking about in my other novel recommendation video. This one's called Love in the Afternoon. It's The Hathways, book number 5 by Lisa Kleypas. So basically what happens is that our heroine notices that her best friend is writing letters to a soldier overseas, you know, during his time in the war. And then what happens is that her best friend actually loses interest, and our heroine does not want to have these letters left unread and unresponded to. So she decides to take it upon herself and to reply back to this soldier. And what she doesn't expect is to have a really nice conversation with him, getting to know him really well, and actually maybe falling for him. So when he actually comes back from war and he's on the search for her best friend, he quickly realizes that it wasn't the best friend that responded to him in such a nice way. It was actually our heroine. And now this one sparks kind of like an enemies to lovers relationship too as well, because our hero definitely feels betrayed that this has been pulled over him and that they think that they can fool him. And he doesn't really know what's true and what's fact and what's fiction anymore because of all these lies. And our hero is definitely a shell of a man that he used to be, because war tends to do that to you when you see a lot of gruesome things happen to people that you've worked alongside with for years. And having all these experiences have definitely made him to be a grumpy hero. But this one, I found it to be on a light side too as well. There's definitely a lot of humor that comes with it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one as much as I did. So the next book that I would like to recommend is this one from Eloisa James. I always forget how to say her name. Make fun of me, do what you must. But this one's called When Beauty Tamed the Beast, and this is actually book 2 in her fairy tale series. Now, I'm not really the biggest fan of Eloisa James, mostly because her books sometimes don't make sense and her characters are all over the place and her plots just kind of go wherever they want to go. But this one, I found myself really enjoying it, even though that the ending was a little bit dramatic. I still enjoyed it. But this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Our hero is really angry. Like, he has just anger management problems. He is definitely a beast, and he locks himself away in a tower. He is, I believe, if I remember correctly, he is actually scarred, and he is an ugly thing, but he's not like ugly, like he's handsome ugly. And then our heroine is described to be this beauty, this belle of the ball. Everybody's really attracted to her, everybody wants to be with her, and this is the story of them being in the castle together, and then afterwards them falling in love, and then kind of helping each other out on terms of insecurities and things like that. And I think I really like this one because they totally did a flip of what it was supposed to be. So our beauty of the ball learns to accept her beauty and to also learn that she is more than her beauty. So I think I really like this book, mostly because we noticed how it kind of switched places a lot. And we learned that beauty is not something that you should try to always think that this is what you're worth, and that there are more things to you than your outside appearance. And I like that, and I liked how they interacted with each other. I liked the close proximity, and I really felt the pain that our hero was going through. So definitely check this one out from Eloisa James. So the next book that I do want to talk about is this one that is one of my favorite books that I read last year. This one's called The Sum of All Kisses by Julia Quinn. And it's part of her Smythe Smith Quartet series. It's It's book number 3. This one, I really liked it. I really liked it mostly because I found myself to be the heroine. The heroine is described to be as very dramatic, as someone who really likes to cause drama and to really be theatrical. And our hero is a grumpy pants and doesn't want to be part of the dramatics and doesn't want to go into our heroine's hysterics a lot of the times. So our hero is damaged in a way or injured in a way also too. So what happens is our hero drunkenly agrees to a duel with one of his best friends over like a gambling game of cards. And then they don't want to fight each other and they don't want to kill each other, but they also want to make sure that their names are protected and that their pride is protected. And what actually ends up happening is that he accidentally gets shot in the leg, and now he has an injured leg and he can't walk properly anymore. He suffers a lot of pain, he has a stiff leg and things like that, and people kind of don't look at him like they once did. And he's known for his injury and he feels this pain and low self-esteem. And what happens is that our heroine has an enemies to lovers relationship with our hero. Our heroine takes personal offense that our hero actually decided to start this duel in the first place and potentially might have ruined her family because of this duel, because something happened in the first book where the person that he was dueling with actually ran away and caused a lot of damages to the reputation of the family, regardless of whether or not people were actually shot and things like that. So this one, loved it so much. I mean, it was just so fun to see our heroine actually break down the walls of our hero, who was Mr. Grumpy Pants and who thought that he can't live a happy life anymore. But through like very quiet and sweet moments, they get to know each other, they agree to be friends with each other, or at least being nice with each other for the week. And then he opens up to her, he speaks about his injuries, and then she also speaks about her worries, and it's just so sweet and tender. So going back to Tessa Dare, of course we have to include one of her most prominent novels called The Duchess Deal. It's part of her series called Girl Meets Duke, and everybody is eagerly awaiting for book number 3 in this series called The Bride Bed. We still don't really know a release date yet, but I think it's going to be next year. But anyways, this one is about our hero who has come back from war, who is scarred. And if I remember correctly, I think half his face is like brutally like marred by like the war. And then his fiance actually saw him and ran away and didn't want to marry him anymore. So obviously he feels even like more bad about himself than he already did because he lost all his self-esteem. People think he's a monster, so now he is turning himself into a monster and he's growing angrier and angrier by himself, and he's becoming more reclusive and he just doesn't want to face reality or society anymore, and he wants to allow the rumors to kind of consume him, or he is allowing the rumors to consume him. And then what happens is that our heroine is actually a fashion designer. She designed the dress of our hero's like fiance's wedding dress that never got to be used, and she really needs the money, so she actually goes to him and demands for the money back. But what happens is that our hero actually gives a proposal to her and actually wants her to marry him so that they can have a relationship and that they can maybe have an heir to his title, because that's exactly what he needs right now. And our heroine actually wants something more from this relationship, and they actually have agreements with each other to spend time with each other. So I really enjoyed this one because you can feel the pain. He's been hiding himself for so long after the war that he doesn't really know how to act in front of society anymore. And it's lovely to see how our heroine kind of always reassures him that, you know, he's more than the scars and that he should be proud of his wounds and that he is kind of like a hero among all of us. And it's really nice to see. There are some scenes in there where it just made me teary-eyed because there was just so much love that she had for him and that he could feel it too as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one too. So one of the last books that I do want to recommend that follow this trope is actually one from one of my favorite authors too as well that I don't really talk about on this channel, but I should, but it's Elizabeth Hoyt. And now this one is part of her Legend of Four Soldiers series. This one's called To Beguile a Beast. And this one is obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So basically what happened is that our hero has come back from war, and he is not just scarred on the outside, but he's actually scarred on the inside too, from trauma and PTSD and from the war and things like that. And then on the outside, you know, there are damages to his body that causes him to have low self-esteem, depression, and to be really reclusive and also angry all the time, because he's wondering, like, why was so much taken away from him from like these accidents and things like that. And then enter our heroine, who is running away from something, and she actually runs to his castle and gets hired to be a housekeeper. And obviously they shouldn't have a relationship because they're not fit for each other, but they get closer and closer to each other through forced proximity, and they get to know each other and they fall in love. And I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and my review on Goodreads was just, this was so good. So I didn't really like piece out my opinions, but like know that I really enjoyed it, if you guys ever follow my reviews, and my reviews are just one sentences. And also, maybe this is a good time that if you guys haven't followed me yet on Goodreads, definitely go follow me on Goodreads. But that is it for all the historical romances that I have for you today that feature the trope of damaged and scarred heroes. Hopefully this was helpful and that you added more books to your TBR list, or at least reminded you of books that you've read in the past and that you really love. But I'll see you guys again next time with a new video. Bye.